6:59, and this is the November meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of North Bennington. So our agenda today is getting a little bit more full than we originally had thought, but we have our trustees, whoops, somebody else's turn to come in. Let me get them in. I don't see them. Oh, there they are. Somebody else is here. All trustees are in attendance, so we have a full group. Members of the public from the Department of Color House and from the library, and our zoning administrator are here in attendance. So we'll try to get through this as quickly as possible. There are a couple of updates to the agenda. Under old business, there's going to be a very brief addition here when we get to it, which is the announcement of the MERP grant, Municipal Energy Resilience Program grant at the village. We just got notification of that this afternoon, so I'll make brief mention of that under old business. If there is new business to be added that trustees thought of since this agenda went out, let us know. If not, we will continue. They'll help me keep a watch on attendance, if you will, so that when we get others. So first thing we will do is review and approve minutes of Tuesday, October 8th.
Matthew's saying that the owl is not active and it looks like there's no lights on it. We can't see us.
Hold on, let me go back to video. Meeting owl camera. Well, that's what I have to do.
There you are.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, carry on.
Okay, and Robert Novak hello Robert. Robert just came in to add to our attendance. Okay, so thank you, Matthew, for that alert. First order of business then is to review and approve the minutes from the October 8th meeting. Those have been sent a couple of times, so
moved.
A second.
There is a motion and a second. Any questions from anyone in there on Zoom? I'm not seeing any. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. Thank you. The second thing we will do is to do our monthly warrant and approve payment of bills. So Doug, take it in any order you wish.
I will go with payroll first, as there's nothing out of the ordinary on payroll. 2 pay periods for the month of October, 1 Aflac. So the total payroll warrant is $14,546.10.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? Matthew, Lori, anyone else? Nope. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
At that one.
Next we have the late October warrant. Majority, two outside of normal payment of bills. The majority of the items are pertaining to the Wellingfield project, the larger items, between equipment, fertilizer, grass, things of those nature. So those were a lot of those items, and we had talked about that at the October meeting. So if you look at those checks that are dated early in the month there, October 13th, a lot of those were the ones that Warren asked to get paid as he was wrapping up Wellingfield. And then the later warrant had some of the payment for the other organizations as taxes began coming through. We just paid them late October as opposed to November. So we got the majority of those ones out. So there's no question. Well, the total is $77,324.30. I did send out the warrant detail. But other than that, like I said, we had discussed the majority of these at the prior meeting.
Questions, comments, concerns? Motion to approve. Okay. Let's give Ray a moment. There is a motion on the table.
Sure.
I'm just trying to find that picture.
Do you want to say it?
I'll second.
Well, let me get here,
Oh,
if you want to
I'm
take
sorry.
a look. There you go.
I looked at it earlier, but it should be on the.
Yes,
computer.
it should be right there.
Okay, good. HNB,
Yeah, that was equipment that Norm had purchased as part of the Wellingfield project.
all right.
Wait,
Right.
that's my copy, so.
It's a-
Okay, so there is a motion and a second. Matthew, no questions from you then? Shaking your head. Okay, Lori, you don't seem to have any questions either. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, you got your last one then.
Okay, and so the November warrant is a light warrant, with the meeting being earlier in the month. So we are $20,943.23. Couple of items paying for additional other organizations. Fire department had some of their officer pay, so you'll see some individual names on there. Those are all tied to the fire department and their officer pay. Beamer's the one at the top there. That is the Vermont retirement plan. And we're working, Mary, myself, and Lori have all been working to get this straightened out. So going forward, this won't be a lump sum check. This should be tied to the payroll. So we'll see, because that portion, the 4,000, part of that is employee contribution and part is employer contribution. There was an issue with the payroll, wasn't deducting properly. So we'll work with the employees that were affected to work on getting the employee portion ironed out. But like I said, going forward, that'll be a payroll deduction. So that'll be on the payroll portion. But other than that, everything else is normal bills.
All right. I'll make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
Motion and second. No other questions, no other comments. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And that's it for warrants.
Okay, so then the next part of our agenda, we're gonna jump right to the Park McCullough houses. They have a request to increase their municipal funding this year. Now, when we get to our annual meetings where residents vote on a budget, they vote the entire budget up or down. They don't get to vote on specific line items, which is why we are trying to put things that are specific line items that might be different from a discussion we would have if we were talking about Parks and Rec or the big departments, highway, fire, or even our general expenses. We do have a special meeting, budget meetings, where we talk about those. So this is just in terms of public awareness and people get a chance to weigh in. So we do a lot, 10 minutes, according to our rules, for comments to be made. And so we have 3 wonderful representatives here tonight. And so the floor is yours. David, I assume you want to start?
Yes, I will. I'll introduce Chris Maxey and Linda Folsom, who are fellow Board of Trustee members. I'm a newest trustee. I think everybody knows who Department McCullough House is, what we do, but we see ourselves as a community gathering space, and we serve to support residents, school children, and visitors. The rentals that come through the carriage house also support the local economy. People are using Powers Market, hotels and whatnot for weddings and things such as that. Obviously, those are great need for us. That house takes a lot of resources. Carriage house takes a lot of resources, and the beautiful gardens take resources to maintain. We're working very hard to get funding from other sources right now. We're working with the state of Vermont. They've given us a matching grant for mold remediation and fire stop work in the basement. So that's happening now. We're also working on strengthening the organization. We're trying to bring new board members in. We've created a fundraising committee That's going to be a focus over the next 3 years. Increased focus on succession planning, evaluating our operations and how we can continue to offer the services that we offer and cut expenses in the near term. From a personal story, I came to Vermont 4 years ago. I had no way to build community. I ended up finding the Park McCullough House and joining one of the croquet leagues, and it's been a wonderful way for me to meet people in the community, Shaftesbury, North Bennington, and build a community for myself. So we are asking for an increase. We haven't asked for an increase in many, many years. We currently fund us at $1,500 a year, which we are very grateful for, and we're asking for an increase to $5,000. And with that, if you would like to say anything, or if you would like to ask us any questions, we're certainly here.
So the increase, what are you projecting the increase for? Is it general budget? Do you have a specific purpose going from 15 to 5?
I would say that we would use that funding to match the money that's coming from the state of Vermont to help. So they gave us $30,000 grant, half of which we had to come up with.
Mm-hmm.
So that's $14,000 that we have to match.
Okay, so if it's going towards the portion of the matching grant, so is this a one-time increase that you're looking for?
I would say that we would probably like to keep that increase going forward. And again, we had a study done by Centerline Architects, and there's a long list of maintenance things out 3 years, 5 years, 10 years to maintain that home. A new roof is going to have to be put on the house. The veranda is going to have to be repaired. So those are expensive items.
And I've been their treasurer for the last decade. And the fact of the matter is that like our operational costs have just exploded post-COVID. Our landscaping has almost doubled, gardening, things like that. Things that the community of North Bennington generally enjoys, be it the grounds. A lot of those expenses just become quite significant.
So are you asking, to go from 1,500 to 5,000, or an additional 5,000 above the 1,500?
15 to 5,000, so an increase of 3,500.
Yeah, that's why I understood it.
Yeah.
But no, it's going to be clear.
Yes, thank you.
And the board, just so the board knows, we don't need to do any more than absorb this information now, because we will be going into our own budget meetings, which also will be public meetings. But I do appreciate everybody coming out. I just did want to say though that in looking at the 5-year history, or I guess it's 5-year history that you provided. Thank you all for doing this. I assume this is your handiwork. It's astounding that you can really reduce that operating deficit as well as you have over the last few years. If I'm indeed reading this right, that you've been operating at a loss.
Yeah.
And I believe that your budget now significantly reduces that projection. So I commend you for that, coming up with those plans.
And I guess I would put it in sort of a broader context for the village and the greater Bennington community, that it's a public park that is provided to the community, and it's very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
The upkeep is very, very expensive, and we're just not able to sustain it, but we want to.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out where to get other resources, public and private, so that we can continue it, because the heartbreak would be for us and the community that we can't sustain it.
That indeed would be so.
Yeah.
I'm confused about what your match is on the grant. How much is that?
The total grant's $30,000. We need to come up with half of that, so it's about $15,000 a year.
So that's 15 you would be putting 15,230, so you have 45,000, which.
No, it's a half, 50/50.
Oh, okay. So you get 30, if you get 15,000, you're gonna get 30 total.
Can I ask you a question? Is that for general, operations, just, what is the grant for?
The grant is for the mold remediation and fire prevention in the basement.
So
So
it's specific to that?
it's specific to the house.
And you have prices on that job?
We do.
Yeah, that's all been, scoped out at this point, yeah.
And is that within that 30,000 or something?
It is going to be, no, it's going to be, we scoped it so that it would come in right where it needed to be in order to, so we cut. We have an architect on our board, so basically, utilized the grant to the fullest extent that we could and didn't go beyond that. So that's one of the ways that we have managed to make this work for so long, is that we don't do complete projects. We do as much as we viably can. So like the electrical, for example, like we do bits and pieces of it as we can and months to do so.
But this sounds like a project you actually need to do in one go, so to speak, right?
Yeah, yes, portions of it we have to do in one segment.
So I guess I'm just asking, do you actually have a contractor who's willing to work for that money, that amount of money? Okay, and, the architects spec that all out, so they're bidding on something that they understand what they're biting out, but they put that.
Yes, the scope of work has been sent out to bid and, we've had a couple of contractors bid on
Okay.
that.
Great. Yeah, so I'm in favor of helping them out.
Mhm.
Because in fact, the reasons for keeping permanent house as a operating system for our village are pretty obvious. And
It is indeed used by students and everyone, whether you live here or you visit here, or who hasn't sent a visitor to do the mile around walk or go look at the gardens over there, so, yeah. But thank you for coming. It's a good opportunity for the rest of the viewing public to get to see what hardworking people volunteer their time to do. And it is a great labor of love, I know, to do what you all are doing. So thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome to stay. You may go or whatever. While we have a minute, I would like to acknowledge Jenny and Rozicki from the library. And did you want to make a quick comment on something?
Sure. So,
Not necessary, but you may, since you're here.
thanks. Is this okay from back here? Can everybody hear? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take pictures. Matthew's nodding, he can hear.
Okay, good. So, yeah, the library, the village trustees got our report for what happened this past year. And it also included our request for an increase. We are requesting a $1,000 increase, for the year ahead. And that is basically just to keep up with increased costs of everything, a new book, costs $45, what is, for nonfiction anyway. So, just sort of the rising cost of goods. And
Full disclosure, I used to be the treasurer there for a number of years. And so I do know the board members there, and I will say impartially, but it's true, that is a marvelous board and great. Linda is also a member there. Like, where do you have this time? But Jenny, her staff, and the board just do a really great job maintaining that on a shoestring for this community.
And the community has made really, really good use of the library. I keep waiting again for us to plateau a little bit. But as of October 1st, we already exceeded our 2023. circulation numbers. So whatever happens for the next couple of months, that's just on top of, all of that. And, you know, it's been a remarkable year, and we're excited about the year ahead, and we're taking on more of our fundraising ourselves, and more than matching the requests we made from municipalities, fundraising.
Thank you. Well, just an example of two of the wonderful abundance of wealth that we have in terms of culture and education and you name it, that we have here in our community. So thank you both. Welcome to stay or not, but we will proceed. A little out of order, but we're gonna let Doug go ahead with his treasurer's report now, since he's been sitting here most of the day collecting taxes.
Correct. So tax update, today is tax property due date. So busy today with busy Saturday. For those that don't know, probably 60% of the total taxes are paid within the last week. So Mary's well aware of that. So it's very busy, very crazy, everything coming and going. So the stuff collected today, and there'll be a few things that trickle in over the next day or so. So all that has to be accounted for, reconciled, and then at that point, I'll be able to determine delinquencies, and at the December meeting, I'll be able to give a report on where we're at compared to years prior and things like that. So that's the tax update for now. So the next item that was on here, budget discussion, we've kind of talked about things, and we've got another piece here, but the Sage City Symphony had reached out to Lori. They had last year come slightly after the budget discussion. They had been at $500 for many years actually. And we're seeking 1,000, an increase of 500. Everything had already been put through. Communication, it sounds like, was a little confusing. They thought they were getting 1,000 this year when we were talking about the next budget year. So with it being just the 500, if the trustees see to make a motion to allocate an additional 500, then we could go to the 1,000 that they were
I would be happy to make that motion.
So you beat me to it.
Okay, well, go ahead.
I'll second.
All right. Matthew's,
I went on Sunday.
Yeah. Yes, Matthew's got a thumb up there, so I think that's it. I think I can very quickly call that question. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Doug.
Yes, so Lori and I will get that out to them. The additional budget items, we are looking at setting a special meeting for Tuesday, December 3rd. And that would be the discussion regarding, like Mary said, the three large departments. So that would be highway, general government, highway, parks and rec is kind of tied together, general government and fire discussions. Mary and I will meet prior to that. We'll likely meet with Norm. I will try to meet with Chief Myers, or at least talk to Chief Myers, and have some information, but that's the day that we're kind of looking at. So if I don't know if you're setting that tonight or if we're going to be following up with that.
I would like to set that tonight, and that is the same pattern that we did last year. Because it's just too much to discuss in one meeting, and if we wait until January to get everything done, then there's no time to really get a good product out for Lori to get in time for the annual plan. So last year, it was the first week, the first Tuesday in December, we did a special meeting for the same reason. And then the second Tuesday was just our regular trustee meeting where we could wrap up loose ends.
And this would be, I think last year, I don't even remember if the meeting lasted an hour, I think it was
It may have been,
45
it
minutes
may
or
have
50
been
minutes,
less than
because it would
that,
just be,
yeah.
there would be no other items on that agenda except for budget discussion for the three
Right.
main.
And what we want to do is go over our long-term plan. We have schedules that look out for 25, 35 years at various components of capital expenses, trucks and things like that, and other equipment type of things. And so we want to look at, see where we were for the last few years and then where we might need to be, because if you need to increase a reserve, that also is something that the public should be able to opine on and say something about if we need to do that. And there's a possibility that if a new reserve is set up, I learned recently that that has to be subject of a public meeting. A new reserve, so we can look at that. Let's see, I guess that, yeah, so I know, Tara, you have helped Doug in the past be a liaison with the fire department, so feel free to pitch in there. And Ray and Scott, if you want to be part of any of these discussions that we have, as long as there's not three of us. It's a informational meeting, but Doug and I usually do spend quite a bit of time with Norm going through all of his plans. This year, we're also hoping to expand that to make a list of all the 10-point-something miles of road that we have in the village, and make a schedule of each road by what that class is and then what the surface is. And last time things were updated on it and when things will have to happen. So we can have the same type of schedule looking forward, not for us, but whoever, succession planning, as you mentioned, whoever comes behind us, we can lead them to say, yes, we did have a plan to do all of these capital improvements and capital needs. And it actually has been part of our village plan as a recommendation to do. So we're hoping between now and December 3rd, Norm and I and BCRC, they're helping us get that together too.
And then the only other item that I wanted to bring up was just the audit. We're moving forward in that process. Everything has been signed with the new firm that we're using, so we're starting to gather and get things tied up. Right now, we're in the process of figuring out the dates of the audit and what audits are needed based on what was completed through Love Code. So those items are there. So, while I'm still knee deep in taxes, audit and budget are right behind it.
So I'm slightly confused. We have a December 3rd meeting for these presentations, but you're going to meet with the highway department before.
We're gonna meet to get the schedules together so we can
Okay.
present detail.
Right.
But it's not a warned meeting because it's
No.
Not a warrant meeting because
Correct.
there's no decisions being made, it's just information gathering.
Right, that way there, we can at least have an idea from Norm of, okay, he thinks he might need an increase to this line item, and I can sort of have the spreadsheet working during the discussion that we have in the public meeting. So Norm's not coming in and just, for the first time, and I'm trying to scramble to get things on the sheet
Right.
and go from
And
there.
the
So-
same thing with our Parks and Rec, same thing with our fire department.
Exactly, just so I have a little bit of a shell of where we're looking to go with it. And then,
So is this a sort of a public meeting? I mean, because
so
here.
December 3rd,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, December 3rd is the one that is 100% scheduled. It'll be a full trustee meeting
Yeah.
with those discussions. All I was alluding to was that as the treasurer, I'm planning to meet with Norm. Mary will likely meet with the two of us as a trustee representative. We can have one additional trustee representative, up to two, to not have it be a warned meeting. And then anything that was discussed at that preliminary would be brought up.
They're doing their homework before they come to the.
Well, I understand that, but is it an open meeting? I mean, is it, someone can walk in from not on the board?
On December 3rd, yes.
No,
No, because we don't know. We don't know when those other discussions will take place. Some of it may be email, some of it may be telephone. We just are simply
All right.
trying to gather facts and ideas so that when that December 3rd meeting comes for both the public and the trustees, there are a list of proposals, ideas, suggestions.
Right. No decisions of any
Same-
sort would be
yeah.
made. It's purely
Same exact
background.
process as we've done in the last couple of years.
yes, I thought so, but
Yeah.
Will the December 3rd meeting be at 7 or 6?
You tell me what you want.
Well, I feel like maybe we did it a little earlier in the past, maybe 6 o'clock.
We have done that and we can, it's nice to do when everyone's schedule can accommodate that. So,
I'd be on board for 6.
yeah,
I'm fine with 6.
okay, so we can decide that here and now. If Laura is okay with it, if Matthew is okay with it,
yep.
okay.
It's okay.
So we will announce that and that can be put in our minutes that there will be a special meeting on Tuesday, December 3rd at 6 p.m. It will be warned, it will be posted, there will be a Zoom option along with that. And we will do some detailed budget discussions for highway, fire, parks and rec,
In general,
in general. Yeah, we can,
I think we can do all of that evening.
I was thinking, let's talk about that. I had a thought about that, but we can.
Because
We
the
did
problem we're
last
gonna run into, but the problem we're gonna run into is if that meeting's December 3rd, then we have a meeting December 10th. By our January meeting, we have to be approved. You've got holidays right behind that.
You
So
want to
what else
do, you
would
can
we-
do it.
I'd rather do it all December 30th. It'd take a little bit longer. And then that way there, I can put it together. And
Totally open to that, totally open to
Yeah,
that.
I think we
Okay.
can do that.
Each year, if we improve it a little bit, that's just what we should be doing. So we'll make that improvement this year.
Yeah, I think we
Excellent. Anything else?
I don't, unless anybody has any questions for me. I'm going to go continue to process deposits.
Any questions from the audience? I see none. Thank you so much. I know it's exhausting work when you also have a full-time job. Yes. So. thank you.
Mary,
Yes.
Norm is at a school board meeting and he's going to try to make it soon.
He's sitting right
He's
here.
sitting
He
here.
just snuck in.
Hey, Norm.
Thank you.
Our timing was perfect.
You're welcome to come here if you want, or you can stay comfortable. I like it when we're a little bit ahead of time or on time. Norm, all yours now.
Well, just, a whole lot, to report. Obviously, we've been working on well and field. It's, grass is coming in nicely. Might start again a little bit, in the spring. We've wrapped up all, projects for the year. One more culvert to replace, but, that doesn't have to be done until the middle of next year. So we're good there. We have met with Green Mountain Power on Church Street, and they have agreed to move all the poles. I'm certainly, within our right of way, the poles are gonna go in to the lawns. And, I know maybe a few homeowners might not really love that so much, but it's already in your lawn now. So, it's gonna allow for a sidewalk, and it's gonna allow for us not to have to drive out onto the grass when we're plowing.
Does Green Mountain Power have to notify people that they're doing that work? What, is there a process for that? Or is it
Yeah, I'm
municipal?
sure they just don't buy their power poles, that's the end of it.
It's not a municipal responsibility that you know? Okay,
But, we've been together and have a little draft plan,
okay,
let each homeowner know is what we're gonna have.
okay.
Again, this is the least intrusive way to do it. We, And the pole was put on the inside, and there's grass strip, 2 feet, then the sidewalk goes in another 2 feet. Now, all the poles just has to be moved, because they're already 3 feet in.
Yeah.
They just gotta move over a couple feet. And, you know, it look just about what it does. Allows the curb and sidewalk directly on grass strip, nobody has to maintain a grass strip. And you know how that is, and, you know, plowing or people, homeowners. And, so hopefully that will be, spring. Starting.
We had discussed, just for the audience, we have been looking at how to take, again, a long-term view at sidewalks and see how we can make the community very walkable, especially around a school, so that a child could go all the way around the perimeter, the block around the school and not have to walk in the street anywhere. So we had started this a while ago, Norm has been working on it. But there was some discussion, am I correct or not, that this year this coming spring, 2025, you would curb it and then it would go to gravel? Or just for?
Well, we had hoped if we were gonna start on it this year, but, you know, I was tasked with doing the field. So, you know, it's not time. Once we do that next year,
you can do the whole
look at our
thing.
budgets, but it would be, yes, it would be very much like the project on, Main Street, it would just start and finish.
Start to
No grass and.
Good, because that's important to know as we're talking about doing our budget plan. That we want to get the whole project, not a 2-year project.
That's correct.
Is the sidewalk on the side of the blue school? It's on.
Yes.
That's a village school site, that's just.
Great.
Where it at once was many years ago.
That's good.
Does the village incur any costs from the power company to move the poles, or how does that work?
No, because they're already in our right of way, so they're under our good graces.
So-
What saved us.
So they're obliged to do it if we request it?
Within reason, you know what I mean, you gotta, you know, we can just line, you know, say we didn't want any power poles in the village, we want all put on the ground, I mean, that's not a practical situation.
Right.
You know, as we work with them, there's a couple that, you know, at least one that needs to be replaced, so it's a good time to go in, there's a good time, we got a few things they'd like to clean up. And, you know, as infrastructure changes throughout, you know, the years and years, things get added and sometimes don't get removed. The school will probably be the biggest one impacted, but it's over in the bushes, so it won't be a big deal, but they had to allow us to put something on their property, to be able to make this all work. And, you know, it's in the back of the whole village to deal with this. Now, there's that sidewalk, and we only have one other section on the upper west to connect. You know, there's a little hill and a step that will be gone hopefully next year. Again, it will never be an ADA accessible sidewalk on that side of the street because the earth does not allow it further. But it will be a passable sidewalk. Again, that we didn't know we could do it. So
Are you gonna lower that down more the street level?
more than likely, yeah.
One other thing that I did ask Norm to comment on, and I sent out the document to trustees earlier. A couple months ago, there was an incident with some big truck coming down and then turning this corner here from onto Main Street, and it held up traffic for who knows how long. Probably hours worth of fire department volunteers having to direct traffic and do things like that. A number of people asked me after that if there was anything that a municipality could do to limit the size and weight of vehicles that are on our 10 miles of road. And so I asked BCRC for their assistance and advice and was sent a document that I sent to you. And because that is a class 1 road coming in, those regulations are set by DOT, There is a link in that document that I sent you that you're supposed to be able to go and look at what's posted on roads. I couldn't figure it out. It was beyond me. But anyway, I thought rather than me try to answer the public questions, I thought maybe Norm could speak to it a little bit better than I.
Well, the big thing, the Route 67 Main Street, you know, coming up through Main Street over here, over federal highways, that's a federal road. We're not saying it is, the trucker made a poor choice. It's no different than somebody having a car accident in front of the fountain. It is what it is. You don't like it, don't drive here, move on. I don't want to tell you, you know what I mean? It's cars, buses, people with flat tires, cars break down. It's inconvenient, you might as well stop the first railroad, which you're never gonna do. It's just, you know, on our other streets, such as like George Street, Hillside, those are town roads that are permitted under 36,000. The people sneak through there sometimes, yes, they have a reason. And, you know, somebody buys a brand new hot tub and tractor trailer, and go, that's just how it's gonna work. You know, but most of those postings go into heavily farm, heavily construction areas in the springtime when the roads are very soft. You know, that's when enforcement of weights gets really heavy in the state, and it is allowed to be that. We don't have an infrastructure in the road, nor do we have an industry locally in our community that uses those roads that makes.
Thank you. But for the listening public, those who did ask that question, we looked into it. That's the answer. Thank you. Any other questions for Norm? Matthew, are you out there? Do you have any questions? Lori, not seeing any. Okay. Thanks.
I did have one quick question. Park Street, the ditching we had discussed, I haven't been down that road since we were there. Did anything happen this
No,
month?
as I said before, if I had to do the park, that was it.
Yeah,
You know,
okay,
we got a lot of hours in that, you know, we've got to get our trucks ready for winter. You know what I mean? Maybe if we have a very easy winter like we did last year, we could start on doing some of that. But no, that'll be next year.
Did we have a discussion with the homeowner? Are they okay with us doing the plan?
Yes.
We did have a discussion.
Great.
Yeah, and the pipe that is, with the grant that I was talking about, the lower section that will accept all that has been changed.
Right.
So we're ready to go that way. It's just,
And you widened the ditch below that down to the hole. Very nicely too.
Nothing else? Thank you.
yes.
Oh, yes, Norm is going to stay. We are going to, thank you. We are going to do a brief executive session at the end of this for a concern of Norm's that we will listen to him. Okay, I think Kim Hall is on board here.
Yep.
I don't see him if he is here. Kim?
He is.
I know you're here. So Kim, if you want to unmute yourself, here's Kim. The floor is yours, Kim. Kim is
Planning Commission. We are closing in on the end of the village plan editing. We have a new chapter called Climate Change, which has been added by Dan Delury, who is an energy expert. I think you know that already. And so we'll be talking about that at our next meeting. Mary and I went to a meeting concerning housing targets. I think we reported that last time to the trustees. So we'll be revising chapter 7 concerning that housing targets and what they may mean. We have an upcoming meeting with V-Trans. It isn't scheduled, but we're trying to get it for the 11th of November. This will be to discuss their drafting of, sorry?
It'll be 11th of December.
11th of December, thank you.
Yes.
concerning the dam and their need to update their emergency action plan and what part we may be able to contribute to that. That's great news that they're willing to take ownership and responsibility of that.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to that meeting. We'll have some graphic updates to the village plan, which BCRC will hopefully help us with. We'll be discussing short-term rentals. Again, we have information from Sunderland about what they did. They chose to put their short-term rental regulations in an ordinance versus a bylaw. And so we're going to be looking at their text and comparing it to what we've put into our bylaws and see how we want to go with that. Ordinance might be more appropriate.
It is something that is becoming more and more popular in
Yes.
municipal governance.
Right. And then we need to go through the schedule for completion of both documents, the land use regulations and the village plan, and sort out exactly when the public meetings are going to fall and where that falls in relation to the village meeting. And so that's going to be an interesting logistical discussion. And then emergency planning continues on. I don't know I'm sorry, I'm joining this meeting late, but I don't know whether or not the trustees are interested in setting aside a reserve for incrementally building up our emergency supplies and being able to utilize the school for limited sheltering purposes. But we have started in on that. I don't know if discussions have occurred between the trustees and the school concerning that. Again, I wasn't at the end of the last meeting.
No discussion has been had on that, and we did agree that we are having a special budget meeting on Tuesday, December 3rd. So the idea of a new reserve for emergency planning can be brought up at that time, and it will specifically be on the agenda.
Okay.
Because new reserves have to be, but it was not discussed prior in this meeting, Kim.
Okay. Emergency planning, I just got off a meeting where I learned about a new, very interesting tool that's being developed by the Vermont Emergency Management Group, and it's called the Vermont Municipal Climate Change Vulnerability Indicator Tool. It's a GIS tool that allows you to have many different layers for any particular town or village and be able to assess, for instance, critical assets and predictions for weather on the same map. You can have just a host of different GIS tool layers brought together to allow you to determine your vulnerability and have data behind it. So it's no longer relying upon people's memories about what's happened in the past and what those risks might be. Now we have data to be able to push about any particular area in the state. And so the tool is not ready for prime time yet, but it will be shortly, and I'll be able to report much more about that as I play with the tool. Incorporated into that is the TRPT, which I don't know what that stands for, but it's a tool which allows us to know which roads and which bridges and which culverts are at risk due to climate change. So it's an amazing tool, and I think will allow us to potentially add a more formal chapter to the village plan about emergency planning and vulnerabilities. Right now, it's incorporated into the plan, not set aside individually, and I think we might be able to do that with hard data and appropriate maps as we play around with this tool.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for doing all of that, because it's mind-boggling and really beyond a lot of us, myself included, to wade through these alphabet soups of things and tools and online resources. So thank you for doing that.
Sure, I hope to be able to set up a monitor at one of your meetings and lead you through it so you can see its value and potentially play with it yourself.
Let's do that.
I have a quick question. The V-Trans meeting on December 11th, do we know where that, it's not totally set yet?
It's not confirmed, no.
Okay.
We've offered the 11th as
a... Pardon?
They've offered us the week of the 11th, and we chose the 11th because Mary's available only on that day. So we'll see if we can get that scheduled. This is
when?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Okay. But it'll be in the village, or will it be in Rutland?
Don't know.
I don't know. It might be virtual. I don't know.
Yeah. But it is huge progress to at least get people to start talking.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Thank you for your
I'm impressed.
dog on bone attitude with that. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Kim? Anything else, Kim, that you need the trustees to know?
No, I think that's it.
I will mention though for the public and for the minutes that the Planning Commission meeting is coming Monday, November 18th, right here at 7 o'clock. There is always a Zoom option. It is always posted with the Zoom option.
Should I mention there's a DRB meeting on Tuesday?
No, you didn't mention that.
There is, isn't there?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we will have to use another room.
No, on Tuesday.
Oh.
You're on Monday.
Oh, we're on Monday. Thank you.
I'm just mentioning it because we usually announce it.
Oh, you did. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So DRB meet, we'll put that in the notes.
Yep.
And we'll put the other in there. Thank you. So I don't think we have any other DRB business to discuss. Sorry, I should have asked you before we launched into that. Under old business, as I mentioned earlier, just a quick report, which I just found out at 4 o'clock this afternoon and sent to the trustees, that we were indeed awarded $154,735.40 for the implementation portion of the Municipal Energy Resilience Program. That's something that's been going on for a while. I will briefly tell you, the public here, what it includes, but it covers the fire station, this building, and the garage, and it is in each building replacing seeking renewable energy in terms of HVAC systems or heat pump systems, I should say, for each of these buildings. It includes some air sealing insulation in the in the village garage, a couple of new windows, window upgrades. And here in this depot, because this program, as it got worked out on over time, different components were added. And anyone who has this grant has to have a small portion of their grant money go toward something that enhances ADA compliance. So for when we did this grant, we put in, with Ray's help, we put in a little bit of money to make this one bathroom here. This is a public building. It might not be compliant, but it will be enhanced for handicapped users. So we have a little bit of money in that. We have Bill Christian, who is a resident and energy expert, has been our consultant on this project, and he will be our consultant throughout the sourcing, the developing the projects and through to completion. So more will come on this. I just found out about it, but I suspect that we should have a meeting, maybe have what do you call it, a steering committee or something. Maybe Scott, you or Ray, since you have building experience, would want to be involved. Definitely Norm would have to, someone from the fire station, and just get together with Bill and talk about, now that we have this, take a look at what the recommendations were from the energy assessment and see how we go forward with this. We have the approval for it. The funds have to be spent by the end of 2026. So we have 25 months to get a project done. 3 projects, hopefully. Anything we don't do, we give back. So lots of work to be done, but it's exciting because, hey, again, Kim mentioned our village plan. It was in the village plan, 8 years ago, that we should be moving forward and looking at energy resilience and less dependence on fossil fuels. So, progress. That's all I
Huge
have.
kudos to you, Mary, for
Thank you.
pushing this through.
Yes, and lots of other people helped with this too. So thanks to all, and many more hands will be needed before the project is done. With that, I have no other business. Does anyone else have anything, whether public or here on trustees, that they would like to bring up?
We just have an executive, right?
We do have an executive that we will call if there is no other discussion to be had. Yes.
I'd like to thank the trustees on behalf of the North Bennington Tree Committee. We received our grant for some annual stipends, and it pretty much covers the 3 sugar maple trees we planted at McCall Mansion each year with the village school kids.
Oh, good.
We celebrate our whole school kid.
Yeah.
Dan Glory, who we mentioned on
Yeah.
there, who's an energy expert. He gave a nice presentation and a lot of questions and answers, and the kids asked great questions, and actually he threw some questions out there. A lot of the kids raised their hands, knew the answers to the questions, like about energy, and so it was really good.
Wonderful.
Thank you for that.
Yes. Yet another example of how community comes together in this little village. Thank you. Okay, well, we will ask everyone else then to exit. We will, actually, I need a motion to call an executive session for the purpose of discussion of personnel matters.
I make the motion.
Ray made that motion. Seconded by Tara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that looks unanimous. I will stop recording for the moment. Cat TV, I
Thank you
don't
for coming.
believe that we will be making any, thank you all. I don't believe we will be making any decisions at the end of this discussion. But I will put you in a waiting room and you may come back or you may exit. I believe we will just come back out and exit our meeting. Okay, Catamount, you're back in.
Recording in progress.
We're resuming the recording. We are out of executive session and there is going to be a motion on the table.
I'll make a motion to resolve the Beamer's issue with a 50-50 split.
Second,
Are you seconding?
you can second.
No, I'll second.
Okay. Seconded. All in favor, since we've had much discussion?
Aye.
Aye.
Was that an aye from Matthew?
Matt said yes.
Okay, that is unanimous, so thank you.
All right.
Now we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All we've done is been at 8:41, we are at 8:42, motion to adjourn.
All right, bye, Matthew.
Lori, anything
Bye,
else
Matt.
from us?
No, I don't think so. Thanks.
Okay.